Thank you very much. Thank you, Demetrius, for giving a good beginning about gods and how we need them to preserve our history. Okay, let me just start with a quote. The old faith of Colchis is one that shares roots in thousands of human cultures, across thousands of worlds. The loveliest legend is that of the Empyrean, the primordial truth, a realm of infinite possibility, a paradise of potential where souls of every mortal in history coil around one another. Even I know such things are myth, but imagine it. Imagine a reality behind the myth. Imagine a place where in the universe where gods and mortals meet. Imagine the miracles of power that could be performed. Imagine a state of utter chaos, utter purity, where anything is possible. Life ends in death, but existence does not. If there is a truth to the old faith, I will find it. This talk will explore the symbolic, psychological, and spiritual dimensions of the Chaos Gods in Warhammer 40k by tracing their conceptual visual motifs across world religion, ancient mythology, and modern literature. Using the fictional pantheon of chaos, Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, and Slaanesh, as allegorical reflections of universal archetypes, we reveal a tapestry of system beliefs in which war, enigma, plague, and desire are rendered as divine personas. From the flaming swords of Zoroastrian Yazatas to the mirror-laden mysteries of Mesopotamia, from tantric circles of rebirth in Buddhism to the War of Babylon and Eye of Horus, the mythological landscape humanity inhabits is rich with imagery echoed in the Chaos Pantheon. This study examines the recurring patterns of iconography, the many-eyed gaze of Tzeentch as the all-seeing demiurge, Slaanesh's seduction through mirrored self-destruction, Nurgle's gift of rot and fertility as both curse and benediction, and Khorne's sacred violence of echoes of the wrathful god in apocalyptic and war-centered mythologies. In doing so, we do not merely seek to decode fictional theology, but to use it as a mirror for our own religion's aesthetic and psychological heritage. Through comparisons with Gnosticism, Hinduism, Christianity, Sumerian mythology, and ritual cults, we trace how chaos deities echo deep cultural structures, the tension between law and entropy, beauty and decay, sacrifice and transcendence. Thus, this investigation invites you to look both at and through the gaze of these gods. To gaze upon them is to confront the primal fears and aspirations encoded in myth. To be gazed upon is to experience revelation, the unbearable truth of the numinous. In that exchange, we begin to glimpse the primordial truth Lorga spoke of, a vision of chaos not as nihilism, but as divinity unbound. Khorne, the blood god, represents war, rage, honor, and the sanctity of martial conflict. His iconography is dominated by skulls, bloods, and blades, recalling deities of war and judgment from numerous traditions. Khorne parallels wrathful and bloodlusting deities across cultures, emphasizing destruction, ritual combat, and sacrifice. In Hinduism, he is reflected in aspects of Kali's destructive power, and blood rites resonate with Khorne's brutal purification through killing and sacrifice. Kali herself is as much of a skull taker as the demons of Khorne. In Hindu theology, particularly in Shaivism and Tantra, gods like Shiva and Kali encompass both creation and destruction, discipline and chaos. In apocalyptic traditions like Christianity, Satan becomes the patron of destructive pride and rebellion, horned and red-skinned, overlapping with the chaos and martial sanctity of Khorne. His reverence is given not only by a throne, it is a whole church. The Aztec gave blood sacrifice to Tezcatlipoca and Huitzilopochtli, gods linked to war and ritual, the latter literally demanding the still beating heart of enemies. Corn in Ithras channels this duality as both a force of the righteous destruction and an abyss of endless bloodshed. The tension between martial honor and savage compulsion is reflected in the spiritual danger of harnessing divine power without restraint. Tzeentch, the changer of ways, embodies ambition, knowledge, sorcery, and transformation. With many eyes, flames, and labyrinthine forms, Tzeentch mirrors the paradoxical nature of wisdom and deceit, progress and manipulation. In ancient Sumerian and Mesopotamian cults, he appears as one of the Anunnaki, descendants of the creator gods that are bound by tablets of fate, but also empowered to change those strands of fate that bind them. He reminds of Thoth or Hermes Trismegistus, Egyptian Greek deities of arcane knowledge, transformation and mystery initiation aligned with sorcery and cosmic manipulation. And even in Norse myth, the figure of Odin weirdly resembles Magnus, the One-Eyed. And Loki, a shapeshifter, deceiver, and chaos bringer, whose actions lead to Ragnarok, mirrors Ahriman's rubric and the entwinement of ultimate power and its inherent peril. The Eye of Tzeentch as a symbol of secrecy is not only a long-forgotten sign of ancient cults, but still has meaning in tales of conspiracy and hidden societies. And lest, it is also Lucifer, the bearer of forbidden knowledge, light, and rebellion. Luciferism often equates the figure with wisdom like Tzeentch's hidden truth. Tzeentch, as a god of fate and transformation, echoes this tension. He offers forbidden knowledge and the breaking of worldly change, yet entraps seekers in even deeper layers of manipulation and unreality. Nurgle, the Plague Father, personifies decay, despair, disease, but also love. A twisted compassion through which rot becomes renewal. His swollen, pestilent form conceals an almost paternal warmth, echoing gods of both death and fertility. Nurgle unites pestilence with grotesque affection, a divine paradox rooted in fertility cults and Chthonic religions. That's sinking. In Buddhism, the tranquil and smiling awakened one is a symbol for the joyous attitude towards one's own inevitable demise. In chaos, it turns to a rotten version that spawns small avatars of itself, which serve as living icons that one has to care for. In the collective mind of European history, as well as global events of plague and pestilence, death personified as the Grim Reaper is not only an unstoppable force, but a fair judge upon all things living. To this day, its symbolism is enshrined in many cultures across the globe. The South African and Haitian voodoo cults praise death and revere it as merely a step to the next invisible parts of human existence. The celebration of death is thus a logical conclusion. The zombie is to be feared, but also to be controlled by sheer power of will. And metamorphosis as a way to become something beyond the initial self is a motif of stories and myth, and humanity's fascination with the process of birth and rebirth is ancient. The skull moth itself is an ill omen for death in medieval European culture and adds to this reflecting aspect of Nurgle. Baal and Dagon, ancient Semitic fertility gods entwined with storms, death, and agricultural renewal, found their ways into the more contemporary worlds of H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos. Nurgle embodies a disturbing version of the theodicy, the idea that suffering can be a form of grace. His worshippers accept rot and despair with joy, believing that in surrendering to entropy, they find peace. This is not unlike certain mystical interpretations of martyrdom, but it is perverted into an eternal stagnation rather than liberation. Slanesh, the prince of pleasure, governs excess, beauty, sensation, and self-destruction. Androgynous and seductive, Slanesh's allure is both aesthetical and carnal, reflecting the dual edge of desire. Its androgyny, mirrored iconography, and emphasis on art and sensuality evoke aesthetic mysticism and ancient cults where desire is divine. And the Dionysian cults of ancient Greek and Rome, wine, ecstasy, and sacred madness are its symbols. The Bacchantes are the raving female herods of frenzy, punishing those that ignore them or try to surpass the beauty of their god. In occult Western myth and romantic Satanism, Baphomet, as the embodiment of male potency and phallic lust, is the liberator from repression, akin to Levian Satanism's ethos of carnal self-worship. The whore of Babylon from Christian revelation is a symbol of decadence and seductive heresy, often linked to Rome's fall. And the Hindu traditions of Shakti and Tantra, spiritual liberation is pursued through indulgence and transgression. Slanesh reflects the ecstatic tension of mysticism, where saints speak of divine union through pain, longing, and the loss of self. But whereas the mystic seeks annihilation of ego and through surrender, Slanesh inverts this path, promising transcendence through indulgence, leading ultimately to self-destruction. It is echoed in Slanesh's paradoxical blend of divine beauty and ruinous blasphemy. While the four great powers embody the primal forces of war, change, decay, and excess, other figures within the law of chaos reflect dimensions of human spirituality and mythology that resonate with equally ancient archetypes. Abaddon, the despoiler, stands as an avatar of chaos undivided, the beast, the angel of the abyss, the messiah of damnation. His Black Crusades recall both apocalyptic battles of revelation and the cyclical destruction of the Hindu Kalki avatar. The 1,000-year spanning battles of demons and gods in the Bhagavad Gita, not to mention the countless crusades against evil humanity has brought unto itself. Abaddon is not a servant of one god, but the integration of all four, the incarnate proof that chaos itself possesses a dark unity. He reflects archetypes of world rulers and messianic figures who unify disparate cults under a single banner, like the Mahdi or the Antichrist, and emulate charismatic leaders that enable unity in extreme contradictions. Through Abaddon, chaos reveals its face not as multiplicity, but as synthesis. Vashtor, the Archaphane, the master of invention, represents technological spirituality. His forges mirror both Hephaestus' divine smithy and the animistic reverence for tool in many indigenous faiths. Vashtor transforms machine and spirit into one, an embodiment of sacred danger and progress. In modern tech animistic cults, it resonates as a figure of kept promises and a herald of things to come. And the modern reverence for awakened AI and the multitude of people pledging their sanity to them may be the most recent iteration of such worship. Like Prometheus bringing fire, his gifts are double-edged. Illumination and bondage. In him, the dream of technological apotheosis becomes nightmare. Fabius Baal, the clone lord, is the archetype of the sober, rational scientist carried to monstrous extremes. He is the Gnostic demiurge imitating the creator of life himself. His pursuit of genetic mastery echoes the myth of Frankenstein. His art distorts creation itself, seeking to surpass mortality by reshaping life. In him, we find the figure of the heretic scientist whose obsession is not ritual but relentless inquiry, turning reason itself into an inverted sacrament. Together, Abaddon, Vashtor, and Fabius Baal show that the pantheon of chaos is not frozen in its fourfold form, but expands and evolves, reflecting human fears and fascinations as they shift with history. As technology, biology, and politics reconfigure human existence, so too do new demigods, and avatars arise to mirror those anxieties in the warp. In the myth of the chaos god, we do not merely find monsters or idols of a fictional future. we find ourselves. These deities are not simply villains, but symbols, archetypes that reflect and amplify the desires, fears, and contradictions at the heart of human consciousness. To glimpse the scene is to witness the seductive peril of knowledge and the change. Nurgle, in its grotesque mercy, teaches that acceptance is decay as a form of transcendence. Slanesh tempts us with the truth that beauty, once worshipped without boundary, becomes annihilation. And to look upon Khorne is to confront our need for sacrifice and structure through violence. Each god is a mirror and a mask, and in their gaze something looks back. This, perhaps, is the most potent myth of all. Not that the gods exist, but that they reveal something which already does. The gaze of the gods, as seen through the lens of chaos, is not judgment, it is revelation. It is the moment we recognize the divine within entropy, the sacred within our own unraveling. Chaos, then, is not merely the absence of order, but the presence of a deeper unspoken truth. The divinity is not distance, it is immediate, terrifying, and intimate. It is not a light above, but a fire within. To be seen by such God is to be known utterly, to stand naked before the sublime. And in that unbearable clarity, something transforms. The warp is a mirror that swirls with the smoke of our burning souls. Without us, there would be no reflection, no patterns to perceive, no shadow of our desires. When we look into the warp, it looks back. It looks back with our eyes, with the life we have given it. We are alone in this galaxy, alone with the nightmares of all who have lived and hoped and wept before us. Alone with our ancestors' nightmares. The gods do not hate us. They do not scream for the destruction of all we hold dear. They are us. They are our sins coming home to the hearts that gave them life. We are the gods, and the hells that we have made are our own. Thank you.